I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks for being here on this foggy night. The temperature's dropping pretty quickly too. Public comment. I don't see anyone from the public here to make comment. Am I forced to read it anyway? No, we're not gonna read it then. New business. The first thing we're gonna do is have a review of the planning board's hazard mitigation plan presented by Hannah Morganson and Planning Director Kristen Grubbs.
No heckling you, right?
You can heckle me at the end. Thank you so much to the select board for allowing us to present tonight. I know some of you, my name is Hannah Mogensen. I work with the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission, and I had the honor of being in front of you back in June to present the hazard mitigation plan itself. After a long, robust planning process, about 18 months, the plan has been finally approved by FEMA and MEMA, and it is now ready for local adoption. So I'm back before you again to give you a little update on the plan and to ask for your vote to approve the plan and adopt it for the town of Newbury.
Anna, my question was just real quick.
Of course.
This is just an update on kind of what the plan, but has the plan been updated? No. There's nothing that we didn't look at before that is new, or are you gonna tell us about that?
So there's small changes. The plan did go through a public comment period, and your community did have a few folks who submitted comments to it. So I worked with your planning team to add in additional detailed information to the plan, but there's no substantial actions that have been changed. Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course. And I don't know if I have the controls, so Joy, do you mind advancing for me? Thank you very much. So just a brief reminder on what hazard mitigation plans are. These are long-term plans that communities can use to try to reduce losses of life and property that can result from natural disasters. A hazard mitigation plan is a FEMA requirement, so the Federal Emergency Management Agency requires that all communities in the country have a hazard mitigation plan and that they review it and update it every 5 years to make sure that it stays relevant and compliant. There are a number of benefits that go along with having a plan in place. The first is that it allows your community to do a comprehensive assessment of risk from these natural hazards, so to really understand where your vulnerabilities are. It also outlines a roadmap to try to minimize that risk through actions and projects. And ultimately, having this plan in place will qualify your community for federal funding opportunities. So these are things like the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, the Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities Act. All of this federal funding will become available to you as soon as this plan has been readopted at the regional level. That's right. So a total of 10 communities did participate in this update, including Newbury. The communities in the region who didn't participate in the update were on a different timeline with their plans, so they did it individually or they integrated it into a different planning effort. But the majority of communities did move through this planning process with us. Just a reminder, the main components of the hazard mitigation plan. The first component is natural hazard identification. So this is reviewing the 15 natural hazards that can impact each community in the Commonwealth and really assessing the risk that each of those individually poses to your community here in Newbury. The second is a risk and vulnerability assessment by overlaying all of your critical lifelines and also understanding where those natural hazards occur to better understand where risk is the greatest. Hi, how are you?
Thank you for, I'm gonna apologize.
No worries. The third is
I'm consistent though, I will tell you.
No worries, perfect timing, jump right in. The third is natural hazard challenge statements. So these are statements that specifically are geared towards Newbury, and they really outline the risk that you're experiencing at the local level and the impacts that it has towards your community. The fourth was doing an existing resource assessment to understand what programs and policies and management you already have in place that are helping to reduce the risk to your community from natural hazards. And the last was a robust action plan. These are plans that your community can advance over the next 5 years to further reduce risk and vulnerability to natural hazards. Thanks, Joy. Oh, and I'm so sorry, I have a few animations. You can scroll through those, so I've already talked about them. Thanks, just one more. Perfect. So all of these steps you can see on this slide here, I'm not gonna talk through, but these were the 10 steps that were completed by your local hazard mitigation planning team. This was a team that was really formed at the local level. It was led by Martha Taylor and Kristen Grubbs, and you had representation from a lot of different departments and groups in your community. It included your emergency management, your police and fire, your planning department, conservation department, your building commissioner, your health director, and I think Tracy even served on the committee here as your town administrator. So really comprehensive involvement across many of the different groups that really understand different risks and vulnerabilities. When I last saw you in June, we were on step 8, which is the engaging the public. We did go through a public comment period, and we did receive comments for the plan as it related to Newbury. We worked with your local planning team to address all of those comments, integrate additional local information that we felt was relevant, and we ultimately submitted the plan to FEMA and MEMA in September. FEMA and MEMA did give us comments back. They wanted us to add a little bit more detail to some of the natural hazards like wildfires, as we've all experienced lately, as well as give us additional context on high hazard potential dams, which you don't have any in Newbury, but it did relate to some of our other communities. So we integrated those comments, ultimately resubmitted it to FEMA and MEMA in November, and we did receive approval. So they said that all elements of the plan now are satisfactory, and the plan itself is an APA status, or approvable pending adoption. Excuse me, I always mix those up. Basically what that means is that it is ready to be adopted at the local level. So we are on the final step 10 here. Thanks, Troy.
May I ask you a question?
Sure.
With FEMA being involved in all of this and all the natural disasters that have been happening, what is the state of their financial ability at this point in time?
That's a good question. Their grant programs they come out on a cycle, normally an annual cycle. So they haven't released their round of funding that they're anticipating for 2025 yet, but it is expected. I'm not sure if that amount is going to be lower than it has in past years. I'm not quite sure, but I do think it's a different funding bucket that they appropriate non-emergency funding for versus emergency funding. So the funding that you'd be eligible for once this plan is in place is the non-emergency funding. So I know it will exist, but I'm not sure exactly what capacity.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So at this point, as I mentioned, the plan is ready for local adoption. Local adoption indicates that the community has been directly involved in the planning effort and that the plan accurately reflects local conditions and goals. The plan is adopted by an affirmative vote of your select board, and a resolution signed by your select board chair serves as documentation of the plan's adoption. We are submitting a multi-community plan. What that basically means is that all communities have to adopt it at the local level. Once all the communities have adopted it, we send those final resolutions to FEMA, and they will basically issue a certificate saying that the plan has been reinstated and it is back in place. We are currently on schedule to complete all of the adoptions across our 10 communities by January 13th. So I'm very hopeful that we will have the plan back in place with FEMA's final certificate by the end of January. And again, the plan will serve as a non-binding guidance document. So you are not beholden to anything that's in the plan. Again, this is just a roadmap. Come 5 years from now, when we reassess the plan, if there are changes that you'd like to make or projects you'd like to add or drop, you are welcome to do that. So at this point, I just again wanted to provide a quick overview of the plan. I'm happy to answer more questions on it, but ultimately we are hopeful that you'll give us your approval and adopt it at the local level so that we can continue moving forward to get the plan reinstated. Thank you.
Hannah, thank you. Thank you for your leadership, and thank the local team immensely for taking us through steps 1 through 10.
Absolutely.
It was a lot of work. It's very comprehensive, a very detailed report. And thank you. It's an excellent job. Jeff, any questions? Leslie, any more questions?
No,
Dana?
thank you.
The state level, is there funding that we can, I don't know, I'm just gonna make something up. If we have a road that like washes out and it needs to be repaired or replaced, is there any state level money that this is involved with? Or is it strictly federal FEMA money?
Yeah, so FEMA funding is what's contingent on you having a plan in place, but a lot of funding opportunities at the state level and federal level basically ask communities to identify where the need is to be able to apply for that funding, and you'll be able to point back to this plan and say we did a comprehensive community planning process and this emerged as one of the needs. So it will definitely strengthen your applications, but right now it's just FEMA funding that's kind of withheld.
I got you.
Is there any state level funding at all, or is it all just federal?
I don't think MEMA issues funding directly.
I don't think so.
No.
I mean, there are other, just to confirm what Hannah just said, which is there are other funding sources that want to see identified that this is a need, that there's some mitigation strategy. So there is a lot of state funding that would be available for projects that have been identified through
In the
this
future.
planning. Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
Anything else? Okay, please, could I have a motion worded such that, to have the town of Newbury adopt the Merrimack Valley Region Multi-Hazard Mitigation Plan?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
any further discussion? None? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Congratulations, thank you,
Thank you.
thank you very much for what
Thank
you
you to your
did.
local team, as you mentioned, they were instrumental in getting this across the finish line.
Well recognized. Thanks so
So was
much.
this conversation that the planning board had at their last, this was part of the discussion of the planning board at the last meeting? Not the last meeting, the prior meeting before that, to update everybody in the community to how you were gonna move it on this.
Well,
Because I do watch the planning board meetings.
yeah, I mean, the planning board didn't have to review and take the vote that you all just had to, so I'm not sure.
No, but if I recall correctly, you were going to have like a workshop / meeting to determine how all this was gonna go, just to make everybody understand how it was gonna work.
Probably yes, because we discuss long-term planning projects a lot. I mean, most recently, we've been talking about workshops related to the zoning amendments, which are coming up, but I think it's the thing that's interesting about this plan is it does touch all the departments, so it's just as much, a part of the capital planning or the emergency management planning as the planning board. So the planning board is certainly interested in supporting this.
It's very helpful to have this kind of communication between the different boards and the commissions. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a one-day liquor license approval for Ipswich Ale Brewery for Christmas tree chipping event.
Motion to approve.
Second,
Any discussion? All in favor?
aye.
Second one-day license for the 1634 Meadery for the Christmas tree chipping event.
Motion to approve.
Second,
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
aye.
All right, we have a number of, under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 138, different licenses, retail liquor licenses to approve. Before we get into them, I'd like to have Joy attest to the fact that all the backup required documents for these licenses have been submitted
Correct,
in hand.
we have all the certificate of liabilities, we have all of the necessary paperwork, and just a special thank you to the fire department and inspectional services for running around and getting all these inspections done in timely fashion so we could get them before the end of the year, so.
Right, and I think the establishments were made aware of the increased rates the fees for licenses that we established?
So the fees increased in November of last year, so it is my understanding that they're aware, but they have not paid any fees yet because we didn't wanna hold checks in case for some reason a license was not approved.
This would be the first time, start off this calendar year. So we propose to go through them and vote them as a packet. But if you have an exception or take exception to any one of these licenses, we'll hold it and discuss it and vote on it separately. So these are 2025 retail liquor license renewals.
Did we motion did we move that we,
To do that?
yeah, I think we
Let's
should
have a
do
motion-
that.
Let's have a motion
I
to
think
do
we
that
should do
then.
that first.
Okay, let's have a motion to do that, please.
So I motion to approve the following retail liquor license renewals, and then we will talk about each one of those.
Okay, second.
So now we're open for discussion.
We'll discuss it as we go through them.
Tracy, isn't that what we're supposed
Did
to
that come
do?
out the right way?
I don't know.
So you usually typically you would go through them, and if there was any that you wanted to discuss, a member would put a hold on it.
Right.
Otherwise, they'd be approved
And then we'll discuss them
separately.
separately, okay.
Can I just add something real quick? What I really appreciate, and this was probably directed to Joy, I don't know who wrote this, but what I really like about the way the agenda is written is when you have them under the categories, which is off-premise licenses, all alcohol as followed. There's another category, off-premise licenses, wine and malt as follows. I really like that. It's very, it lets me know exactly what we're talking about. And I can remember at one point in time when we added, I think it was liqueurs to one of these.
Yeah, that's
To the
right.
cordials, we added another category.
Right.
Which spins back to the fees and stuff that you were talking about.
All ties into the fees as
It
well.
all ties into the fees,
Exactly,
so.
exactly.
I just wanted to say that, that's all.
Yeah, cause it
good.
wasn't listed as a category, as a description,
Right.
like beer, wine,
Right. but that's-
alcohol,
It's all
and
set now.
cordials.
Okay, Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 138, Section 15, off-premise licenses, all alcohol as follows. Quadruple 07-PK-0794 Sylvanowitz Family Associates, Inc., doing business as D&J Liquors, 53 Main Street.
The mini mart,
The second one under that category is 00010-PK-0794 Plum Island Fine Wine and Spirits, Inc., doing business as the Cottage Wine and Spirits, 14 Plum Island Boulevard. Next category. Section 15, off-premise licenses / wine and malt as follows. 00018-PK-0794, The Butchery Incorporated, doing business as Newbury Butchery, 2 Morgan Avenue. Second one is 90392-PK-0794, Wyatt's Market, doing business as Wyatt's, 6 Fruit Street, Unit D. Under Section 12, licenses requiring sale of beverages to be drunk on premises, wine and malt. 04762-RS-0794, Bob Lobster, 49 Plum Island Turnpike. Section 12 again, licenses authorizing sale of beverages to be drunk on premises, wine and malt / club. Excuse me, wine and malt / club.
So you'll see in their actual identification number, Bob Lobster is listed as an RS, and Old Town Country Club is listed as a CL.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, so
okay.
it's broken up by the licensing board based upon their type of location.
Type of location, got it, thank you. Quadruple 02-CL-0794, Old Town Country Club Incorporated, Marsh Ave. Section 12 again, licenses authorizing sale of beverages to be drunk on premises, all alcohol. Number 03245-RS-0794, Rusty Can LLC, doing business as Rusty Can, 9 Fruit Street. Number 00020-CL-0794, Old Newbury Golf Club Incorporated, doing business as Old Newbury Golf Club, 319 Newburyport Turnpike. License 06141-RS-0794, The Sunset Club LLC, 2 and 8R Old Point Road. 0818-RS-0794, Riptide Cafe and Bar, 23 Plum Island Boulevard, 4. Next category under section 12 is licenses authorizing sale of beverages to be drunk on premises, all alcohol, considered hotel. 06455-HT-0794, Plum Island Blue LLC, doing business as Blue Inn on the Beach, 18-20 and 22 Fordham Way, Plum Island, Newbury, Mass. And that concludes the package.
Bill, do we need a motion to approve all as read?
It's kind of what Dana was doing up front.
I think that's what I was attempting to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
So just to be specific, let's restate it. Restate that motion.
You, go ahead, Dana, you do it.
It says it right on the agenda that you could just vote to sign the ABCC renewals.
Oh, that's what
Oh,
that
yeah,
is,
that's
that's
right.
perfect. Vote to do that, Dana.
The bolded statement about the renewal certifications.
Vote to sign the ABC renewal certificates 2025 as read.
Oh, okay, you know what, that's funny, because I was looking for that particular documentation in the package, and
Nope.
I'm like, where is this? And
No
it's
worries.
all of them, I
all
got
of
it,
them.
I
No
got it.
worries.
Okay, I motion to vote to sign the ABCC renewal certifications for 2025.
Second, please.
Second,
Any discussion?
Yes. The discussion is about Blue. They have a location across the street from the main building. How does that fall into the category of licensing? Because they would have to leave the main building, walk across the street in order to, they could get their libation at the main location, but they are they allowed to go off location to walk it across the street to their other facility?
I think this covers it, because it says 18 and 20 and 22, those are all
Both
even
locations.
addresses.
Yeah.
The one across the street, I'm assuming is an odd address, so it's not covered under the licensing.
Should it be put into it that, to cover our own backside? Should that be put in that location doesn't fall under the same licensing?
No, the request of the license for that location as well. It's the business is being licensed and the locations have been specified. So I don't
But
think,
that's, Bill, what I'm saying is that would be like somebody coming out of Riptide and walking across, or somebody coming out of the other establishment. I should know it, but
and going where?
across the
And go-
street to their other establishment, they have different,
That other
businesses.
establishment is part of the business structure, correct? It's not
but
another,
you're
it's
going
not another,
on, but you're going on to public property, you're
you're going on to the another building of the
You're
business
walking across the
establishment.
street, you're going onto public property, and if anything happens while you have some kind of alcoholic beverage in your hand, the town would be liable for that.
can I make a point?
How,
Can I
I'm
make a
listening,
point?
I think this discussion is above and beyond what we're chartered to do here
No,
tonight.
we're only approving
Proving
this
the
license,
license,
what's in front of us,
that's it,
all right?
that's it, there are no what ifs.
And the addresses are right there, so that's what we're approving.
Okay,
So whatever happens after that,
All right.
We're not approving.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
One. And you're opposed specifically for that one license, correct? So it has nothing to do with holding up the other licenses, but it passed, it
Correct.
has a quorum to pass. Okay, I need to have a motion to vote to sign the ABCC 2025 seasonal population increase estimation form, which is included in your package. It's an annual thing where an estimate is made of what the summer population might swell to. And
Motion to sign the ABC 2025 seasonal population increase estimation form.
may I have a second?
Second.
Any,
Excuse me, second.
any discussion?
Yeah, I can't find it right now, but there was a number, there was a population number on that form, like 7,100, yeah, I can't find that at the moment. Where does that number come from?
Seasonal rentals.
So.
Joy knows where the number came from.
So I used the same figure off the United States Census report that the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission used in 2018 to estimate our seasonal population at that time. They derived that number from the number of rental properties and the number of vacant units in town. When you do that census search in town, no properties in the Byfield section come up as quote unquote vacant, but it was, I believe, 40760, forgive me, hold on a minute, I'll tell you exactly, that were vacant in Newbury. Now, we could go further and using the census with their population estimates in town as to how many, what percentage of homes have one-person households, two-person, three persons, but after considering that would be more of an estimation, the safest figure to use was the straight figure that the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission used in 2018, which is that vacant household 460. So when you add that to the current census figure, that's where the new total population comes from to reflect that 460 anticipated increase in the summer. So it's all census data.
So,
Go ahead, Jeff.
Joy, what's the increase again? You just said it?
Of the
Number?
vacant vacant unit homes, 460.
No, but do they have how many people the increase from the standing population to the seasonal population actually is?
So they have a breakdown of the average for the community of how many one-person households,
Okay.
two persons, but again, we'd be kind of getting into a gray area to use those estimations,
Okay.
so.
Would it fall into a category of if these seasonal rentals were listed as they could house 6 people, is that taken into consideration?
The census reports don't get that
Okay,
in depth. They just, they give you total housing units, occupied housing units, vacant housing units, the homeowner vacancy rate, and the rental vacancy rate.
Thanks, Joy.
Excellent answer, thank you.
Anything else? Any other questions?
Why does this matter? Why does this matter? Is there a money, is there a dollar figure attached to this or something?
No, I think it's just a
It's for the
seasonal
ABCC.
estimation that they want for how it's used, I have no idea.
I don't know for sure, but it is possible that it could drive the number of licenses that the town's able to have.
Bingo.
Because if
I gotcha.
if we are showing that there's an increase, imagine for a community that does have a very significant increase, it would be logical to assume that the ABCC may be willing to consider
Opening up
additional
an
licenses.
additional liquor store like on Plum Island or something.
Because we have a full allotment of what's in town, so.
There you go, that makes sense.
Danny, you were right, it's 7176.
7176, yeah, I found the
They
page.
found it. Any more discussion? Let's take a vote, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
No one opposed. Next, we have to declare the 1998 Moore Bank chipper as surplus submitted by the DPW.
And my apologies, we do need a vote on that one. I'm sorry.
Oh, on the declaration of surplus, okay, could I have a motion?
Motion to declare the 1998 Warback chipper as surplus.
Second,
Any discussion? Let's vote, all those in favor? Aye.
aye.
No one opposed. The town administrator report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This evening, happy to report that Chief Fisher has been chosen to participate in the April 8th, 2025 day trip to the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum in Washington, D.C. The trip is being paid for entirely through a grant from the Cliff and Susan Rucker Charitable Foundation. And it's coordinated through the Lappin Foundation as well. The purpose is to educate law enforcement on, law enforcement administrators on the role that they played in Nazi Germany in an effort to make sure that it doesn't happen again, there's no repeats. Keep the history from repeating itself, and there have been, she's one of only 18 that were chosen from this area to attend.
Congratulations to Patty.
Yep, so that should be very interesting. We do have a tax rate, happy to report. It came down to the wire, a little close this year, but we received notification from DOR that our rate has been set at $7.45. I had an email from
Which is down from,
768.
thank you.
We had a call or an email from Brian Forget. MSBA is going to be hearing our proposal this Friday at 1 p.m. So it is on their agenda for review, so everyone send good thoughts, fingers crossed. The Caldwell Farm Trail is done. It has been cut and is complete, and now we're just waiting signage and markers, and those will be coming along. I believe DPW has also cleared the parking area as well.
If that's a private property, how was the DPW involved in it?
It's private property, but it was part of the conditions that the planning board put on that development, I guess, years and years ago. This particular trail was on my predecessor's desk, so it took quite a
So
number of
it's-
years of negotiation and
It's
to get it actually done.
I'm
Yeah.
not saying anything bad, Tracy.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good that I'm very pleased that it's almost complete. The library roof started December 3rd, so they expect it'll take a couple of months. Of course, that's barring any foul weather like we're expected coming in the next 2 days.
That's why I was late, because I had not been out of the house and my windshield was coated with ice.
Oh, boy. So, just an update on the Orchard Street culvert replacement project. They were driving sheet piles today, concrete next week, and they expect to install the actual culvert during the last week in December. So it'll probably take them, I don't know, maybe 2 more weeks to move the water, install the railing, and then final paving. They did have a little bit of a delay. I think there was an issue with the king tide and a larger than expected size of many of the boulders that I think you have noted, Dana.
Dana's boulders.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
With the temperature being so low though, does that interfere with the setup of the concrete?
I can't answer that question.
Contractors have ways
I'm
to abate the.
They have additives.
I'm sure they know, yeah, they know what they're
question,
doing, but,
So
no, I
this is
don't know.
probably extended to January a little bit.
I would expect it. They had hoped to finish the end of December, and I would say probably 2 weeks into January. That's my guess.
you.
Yep. The Plum Island Bridge project, I think someone had mentioned that last week, it is indeed done. The Lower Green Schoolhouse window project, they started today, and they're thinking that that will take about 2 months as well. So that's underway. The playground, I don't know if any of you have been up to the Central Street.
I have not been up, but I've had people contact.
I've been there, yeah.
And, the question is, what's going on?
Here are some of the
So,
photos of
you know,
where we're
getting back
at.
to people and just saying, you know,
So
it's a
they're
new
gonna
playground.
hopefully complete their site work by the end of this week. They'll button it up and then you won't see any further action until the spring when the actual equipment gets delivered and set up.
Tracy, is this under, on our town website, under like, I think there's like a new news?
News and announcements?
Could we maybe publish what the finished project's gonna look like?
Sure.
In that category?
Sure.
That would be great. I've had a bunch of people like, what's going on up there?
Yeah.
What are we doing? What's it gonna look like? And I-
Completely confused on everything
And I know the
else.
rec committee's got some decent handouts of what the finished project's gonna look like.
Yeah, we
And
have
and this is, but that would be great if we could put something on our website so people can reference that.
Yeah, we have some drawings that Huntress and Associates had done originally when we started this. We can certainly.
That'd be awesome. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
no problem. And so again, that won't be addressed, the final installation of the equipment until the spring. Our library negotiations concluded today, so
Stop.
yeah, so after 2 years, we will have a document before you to take up an executive session and at a future meeting, once it's all
I
wrapped up.
don't mean to laugh, but
I know. National Grid has notified us of, that they're opening up a task force right now to, deal with any anticipated outages that they'll be dealing with over the next couple of days, so they seem to think it's
because of the ice.
the winds,
Man,
the rainfall and the winds. Annual employee holiday party, again, is going to be on Thursday, December 19th, so the offices will be closing at noon. We've put it on the website and tried to get some press on that. And, I have one final ARPA request that came in from the DPW. So we had initially, the board had appropriated a little over $41,000 for the schoolhouse windows. And most of the bids that we accepted were right in that range, except for one, which came in significantly lower at $14,000, so naturally we took the low bid. So we had about,
significant.
yeah, we had about $27,000 available. And the DPW has submitted a request for 2 LED solar-powered school signs, but these are permanent signs. These will be in concrete, they're not the movable speed signs that you see appearing over in various places around town. These are gonna be permanent signs, and the cost is $21,588. So that will leave us about, again, right now, today, about $5,000 left in our ARPA funds, and I would request that we could use those for
Thursday,
for the moves that are gonna be occurring, that we could maybe throw that money towards the moves if we need to buy any additional, I don't know, desks or chairs or things like that.
may I ask what kind of windows they decided upon?
The historical commission was in charge of that, it was all in the RFP, I don't know off the top of my head.
So
I don't
they're
recall.
significantly better weather-wise as,
I don't think so, I think they're reglazing
oh,
what's there, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know, it sounds
But I'll
like,
pull I can pull the RFP and send it to you so you
Yeah.
can see.
Yeah,
because I know the windows were in very,
Well, you get into that,
very difficult shape.
you get into when you have to replace windows, you're gonna lose the old glass and on and on and on.
Oh,
They-
absolutely.
They ended up, I mean, there's lead and all the stuff that's in the, but what happens if that bid was that significant low and they don't perform to the standard that, what happens then?
Yeah, I mean,
We don't have a
do the windows have to fall
We don't
into
have
a
choice.
certain standard?
We don't have a choice.
I mean, it's such a significant, if all of the bids came in, you know, relatively similar within a couple $1,000s, and we contacted the references and one of them was really bad, then we could justify going with the higher bid, but that wasn't the case here. And we did review it multiple times. I had questions about it. I think the vice chair had questions about it, so we went over it multiple times to make sure we weren't missing something, because it was such a significant delta.
And they're gonna, the only other question I had, it's the way things go with municipal bids, like they're putting sidewalks in and freezing temperatures, so they're gonna be glazing and painting that sash in the winter?
They've removed the windows.
They're taking them, what, to a heated place to be done?
I assume so.
So the plywood over the openings? Okay. Yeah, but
Interesting.
The place is not heated, correct?
No.
No, so therefore, the RF value is a non-factor. Because it's,
Observing heat,
because it's not heated.
yeah.
It's not that, you're trying to do, granted, that's why they had to take them out. You're not doing glazing and painting at this temperature.
not at this temperature.
No,
I mean,
yeah.
you have to be at least at 55 degrees or so.
And they're perpetually wet at this time of year anyway.
Tracy, what about the roof for that schoolhouse? The bid was settled with a coin toss?
So, it's the only time, 33 years I've never seen this happen. We had two bidders submit the
came in at the
exact
same
same bid. So it was determined, based on consultation with council, that it would be determined with a coin toss, and both the bidders agreed to that. But the one that lost the coin toss
Got stinky.
kind of got, decided he was gonna challenge it, so it's gonna be, I think, was it the 17th? I think it's the 17th of December that it'll be heard. And, me, Telman, and Costa will be there with us as well. And
How do you go in and mitigate something like that? I said 1,000, he said 1,000, we tossed the coin and I lost. It just seems like wasted money to
Well,
me.
I'm throwing that out there, cause I've thought about this a lot myself, and you could rebid it. The two of those guys could rebid, would be one way of doing it. Or you could, I don't know which one came in first, but I'm sure that the bids are dated and time-stamped.
of course,
So the first one would win, but that's not my call.
you can't, if we rebid, we'd have to rebid and anyone could bid. We can't
Anybody
just-
else could step up.
That's not a good idea.
So they didn't wanna do that.
Right.
But that was a legal decision.
Oh, yeah.
Settle it by coin
Oh, yeah.
toss, so.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm thinking that we probably need 2 motions for the ARPA money,
Please.
so,
I'm sorry, yeah, go ahead and motion it, cause I have a question about that too.
okay.
Go ahead.
Let's
Go ahead.
have one
So-
motion for the permanent school signs, allocation of $21,588 to the DPW for 2 LED permanent school signs.
We'll move.
Second,
Okay, any discussion on that?
yeah. Who does the installation?
DPW.
Okay. So there's a electrical contractor on the DPW force.
No, they don't do the electrical, they do the installation, they do the cement pad.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the other
I
part,
think these are solar,
they're LED, yeah,
Yeah.
LED solar.
LEDs.
Okay,
Is this Triton we're talking, is it gonna be
Yes,
at Triton?
Yeah.
So, and I'm assuming,
one at the entrance, one at the exit.
right where it says school speed limit 20, it's now gonna be powered, and and there's gonna be one on the other side coming the other way.
Right,
That's what I
exactly.
assumed, thank you.
Good idea.
Exactly, yeah.
Any other discussion? Vote, all in favor? Aye.
aye,
No one opposed. I need a second motion for, the $5,000 to be used for any incidental moving expenses. These
So
are town
moved.
hall related moving expenses?
Town hall related
Okay,
moving
let's make sure we
expenses,
say that.
the balance, which currently stands at $5,537.
Still so moved?
so moved.
Thank you. Second,
Second.
any discussion on this? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Tracy, has
Zero
preparation, is preparation underway for the new, space that we're?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep, they're under construction right now.
so if I pop in at some time, you can give me a tour.
Sure.
Great, it's awesome.
Is that down the hall right here?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it, thank you very much. Correspondence in the package is a letter from Triton Regional School District regarding the apportionment of costs from the Triton Regional School District. There is no change to any member's town fiscal year 25 assessment. There's a letter from X Infinity titled regarding Addendum 2, Roman numeral 2, additional pricing changes, services no longer available for new subscriptions. And I took a look at it, Dana, what you were asking about before. I think it says that they are contacting new customers. Information is being communicated to customers. They are communicating to customers with 30 days advance notice of the changes. It's not on our back, I think. to do it.
Gotcha. Yep.
On the Xfinity or the Triton?
X Infinity.
Yeah, I have received information myself in the mail for some of the changes that are coming up. Thank you very much for going up on the prices and not giving me anything extra. But keep an eye out on Xfinity because there's more that meets the eye than just Xfinity. The number of different corporations that they have in their they're moving to push a lot of the other things that they own into a bigger conglomerate to monopolize. So it's just something to keep an eye on at this point in time.
Okay. So there's a letter from Whittier Regional Vocational Technical High School regarding beginning stages of replacing their 50-year-old wastewater treatment plant. Feel free to read the letter. And we have review and approve of meeting minutes. I would like to have a motion to approve the draft meeting minutes of November 26, 2024.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion of the minutes?
No, but could I throw a little something out there just as far as Whittier Regional Vocational is concerned that all but one town is on board for the show of good faith to go forward with the teaming up with Northern Essex, and that would be the town of Raleigh.
That's correct. We've talked about that at this very meeting a few times. And whether they partner with NECC or not, it seems as if they need to do something imminently on their 50-year-old wastewater treatment plant. And that was the topic of the letter that they sent.
Yeah. It's just that the 11 communities have to all be on board, so just throwing that out there.
The idea though, Bill, whether they do or they don't, and whether that language is an interpretation, but doesn't seem to be, hell of a lot of difference between trying to be repair, limp along, take great care to, and replacing, and all of a sudden you're gonna go someplace else. Because that's gonna be a big cost.
Yeah, it is. And there's uncertainty in terms of this partnership with NECC. If it did happen, what would be the timing? And what happens in that interim period of time between now and then with wastewater
Yep.
from the school?
These are the small nuances that everybody has to really take into consideration before making a final determination on how you're gonna handle it.
Okay, so did we ever get to vote on the approval of the minutes? We got a motion second.
Yeah,
Did
Didn't
we
we,
vote?
John? No?
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. I need a motion to sign warrants.
Motion to sign warrants.
A second, please.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We need to have a motion to move into executive session, and I'm gonna ask Leslie to read the data.
Executive session. I move we enter into executive session pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A, S21AX3 to review, discuss, and consider the board's response to the open meeting law complaint against it dated November 27th, 2024, filed by Jack Rybicki and on file with the town clerk, whereas discussion of this matter is open session would have a detrimental effect on the board's litigating position, and the chair so declares it. And to reconvene in open session to vote to approve to delegate the board's response to the open meeting law complaint by Jack Rybicki on November 27th to town council. I need a second on this, please.
All in favor?
Roll call vote.
A roll call vote, thank you.
Jeff
Jeff
Walker?
Walker,
Yes.
Leslie,
Yes.
Bill DeMayo, yes. Dana?
Yes.
Okay, I guess. Any discussion on opening the session? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now to finish, we need a motion to vote to approve to delegate the board's response to the open meeting law complaint filed by Jack Rybicki on November 27th to town council.
Motion is read.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None.
You don't need a roll call on that one?
No, just go
Okay.
executive session.
Okay.
Now I need a meeting to adjourn, motion to adjourn.
Motion is read.
Second.
Fast again.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.